Welcome back everybody to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Draft Series Synchro. This is Michael, the Decor, coming to you live from sunny San Diego, California. And despite all of our lost footage, despite all the troubleshooting we've had to do in the background, we welcome you back to the finals featuring Daniel versus John. Both of these contestants have made it through a rigorous tournament, not only putting their deck building skills to the test. Thank you to all of those who have been following along, and let's get right into the game. It looks like we're going to be seeing Daniel start things off here by summoning Lila, the Lightsworn Sorceress. And throughout this tournament, we've been able to see what kind of Lightsworn strategy Daniel's been able to come up with. And following that up, we're going to see Power of the Guardians, an equip spell that gives a monster a spell counter each time an attack is declared involving it, giving it 500 attack and defense, but also gives it some added protection if it's threatened. We're going to see him set one more in the back row, and during the end phase, Lila is going to trigger once per turn. During your end phase, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. And we're going to see the Fabled Cerberell, Diviner of the Herald, and Lumina, Twilight Sworn Shaman. We're going to pass things off to John here, and we're going to see him start off with none other than his Gearbreed, a very powerful spell that's been coming in really handy throughout this tournament. We're going to see him set one monster in face down defense position and 2 more in the back row, and we're going to see things pass back to Daniel. Daniel's going to draw, and we are going to see him activate Lumina's effect, targeting one of John's face down spells or traps. It looks like he's going after the one in the middle here, and John does let it go through. Magic Key unlocking, now being destroyed. But we're actually going to see a tribute summon from Daniel, Celestia, Lightsworn Angel. When you tribute summon this card by tributing a Lightsworn monster, you can send the top 4 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Then target up to 2 cards your opponent controls. Destroy those targets. That is definitely one way to get things rolling here. We're going to see Daniel milk 4 cards from the top of his deck here. We're going to see Tuning Gum, Wolf, Lightsworn Beast, Raikou, Twilight Sworn Fighter, and Unizombie. And if y'all been following throughout this tournament, you guys know just how handy that 6-pack furry has been. But it does look like John has something in response. Yes, he does. Herald of the Orange Light. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can send this card and one other monster from your hand to the graveyard. Negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. We're going to see John send the Immortal Phoenix Gearfried alongside the Herald. Oh, but Daniel has something in response. He's going to be activating Ghost Meets Girl, a Shiranui story. If your opponent controls a monster, discard one monster. Special summon one Shiranui monster with a different name from your deck or graveyard. And so now we're going to see the Shiranui Spectral Sword special summon onto the field. And now that the chain resolves, Celestia is going to be destroyed. But as I mentioned, Wolf is going to be summoning himself out of the graveyard and onto the field, 2100. But we're quickly going to see a Synchro summon on Daniel's part, Orient Dragon. If this card is Synchro summoned, target one Synchro monster your opponent controls and banish it. Nothing too important here at this moment, but it does give him one beefy monster. We're going to see Daniel move into the battle phase and try and take out that face down monster here. But John does have something in response, Crusher Run. If a face up monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one card on the field, destroy it. A very powerful and reoccurring trap. So we're going to see John's monster be destroyed here, and we are going to see Ringo Worm, the Dragon Guardian the 100 Apples, be destroyed, activating Crusher Run's effect, destroying the Orient Dragon. And we're going to see the last card in Daniel's hand be activated, and it's none other than Goblin Circus. Once per turn during your end phase, reveal the bottom part of your deck, then place it on the top of the deck or banish it face down. Alright, so it kind of lets Daniel scope the next draw that he may have. And we're going to see him banish the Mecha Phantom Beast O Lion. Looks like that's not something he wants for his next turn here. we're going to see things pass back to John here. And he is going to activate the trusty Gear Breed, giving him access to an equipped spell rather than his normal draw phase. So both of these players have access to somewhat sculpting their next draw. And he's getting none other than Fleurette de Fleur. You've gotta love the kind of equipped strategy that John has come up with here. And we are going to be activating Fleurette de Fleur's effect. Activate this card by targeting one level 2 or lower monster in your graveyard. Special summon it, but negate its effects, giving him a pseudo reborn here, and he does look like he's going after the Herald of the Orange Light, a valid target. And John's equip strategy isn't finished just yet. If you control an equip spell, you can place one monster or one Gemini monster from your graveyard on the bottom of the deck and draw one card. Now that's one way to use your resources. Looks like John is going to be sending back the Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. Let's see if his strategy's paid off. It does look like he drew a monster, and he is indeed going to summon it to the field. Chaos Mirage Dragon. However, it does look like both of these monsters are tuners, so we're just going to see him move into the battle phase and attack directly. We're going to pass things back to Daniel here, and he draws none other than Minerva, Lightsworn Maiden, coming in clutch when he needed it. When this card is normal summoned, you can add one monster from your deck to your hand, whose level is less than or equal to the total number of Lightsworn monsters with different names in your graveyard. And he does in fact have 5 different monsters, giving him access to a fair amount of cards in his deck. And it looks like he's going after none other than the loyal Revolution Synchron onto the hand. And now that it's the following turn, he's going to be activating Shiranui Spectral Sword from the graveyard. If this card is in your graveyard, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can target one non-tuner monster in your graveyard, banish both it and this card, and if you do, special summon one Synchro monster from your extra deck whose level equals the total levels of those 2 monsters. Wow, Daniel certainly put something together. That Shiranui aspect is giving him Synchro access from the graveyard, and he's summoning none other than Chaos Ruler, the chaotic magical dragon, who unfortunately doesn't get his effect since this isn't considered a technical Synchro summon. But that level 8 monster is going to be used as Synchro material with Lumina now to bring forth High Spearoid Clear Wing Rider. What is going on here? God dang! Once per turn, during your main phase, roll a 6-sided die and shuffle monsters from your graveyard into your deck up to the result. Then, you can destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number shuffled, and if you do, this card gains 500 attack for each card destroyed by this effect until the end of this turn. Alright, now we're definitely revving it up, and we see the live camera footage coming in here. We're not just playing card games here, boys, we're rolling some dice, and 5! God damn! John's board is about to be wiped out. Now this is, I gotta say, this is one of the things that I love about the draft series. Not only do you get to play with cards you never otherwise would get a chance to, but you also get to see the kind of power that some of these cards have in this kind of setting. And it gives life to some of these strategies that duelists have been able to come up with throughout the tournament. Not only mixing in the Lightsworn package, but the milling aspect that gave access to this kind of combo. And it looks like John's entire field is gone here. Oh my. I'm not sure if this is something he can come back from. Daniel is going to attack directly with that High Spearoid Clear Wing Rider, but it does look like he has to call it a wrap. And congratulations to Daniel winning the first game of the finals. Wow, I gotta say, this is one of the reasons why I enjoy this kind of format. Where else are you going to find this kind of gameplay? Nowhere, I tell you. On to the second game. And we're going to see Daniel start things off with the Shiranui Squire. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon one Shiranui Spectral Sword monster from your hand or deck, giving him access to the MVP of the last game, the Shiranui Spectral Sword, onto the field. And we're going to see Daniel use those 2 as material to summon the trusty Orient's Dragon, 2300 attack. We're going to see him set one more in the back row, give the deck a nice cut, and pass it back to John. And John summons Deep Sea Diva. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon one level 3 or lower monster from your deck. And John brings out none other than the one and only Mind Master. And if you've been following, you might know the kind of combo that is coming out at this moment. Mind Master is going to activate his effect, paying 800 life points, tributing one monster except itself to special summon a level 4 or lower monster from the deck in face-up attack position. And John is going to be summoning the Supreme Sea Mare. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can send one monster from your deck to the graveyard. And I think we all know who's going to the grave. Destrudo, the Lost Dragon's Frisian. We're going to see John activate Destrudo from the graveyard, sacrificing half of his life points, and Destrudo is going to give him access to one evil Synchro monster here, Yazi, evil of the Yang Zing. Yazi is going to activate his effect, targeting himself and a card Daniel controls to destroy them both. And it looks like John is going after the back row here, which looks to be a Light Sworn trap here. But Yazi is going to activate in the graveyard now. When this card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one monster from your deck in defense position. And I believe we're going to be seeing, yes, the daddy himself, Red Eyes, Darkness, Metal, Dragon, in all of his uneroded glory. Next, we're going to activate Red Eyes' effect to special summon from the hand, and it's none other than the immortal Phoenix Gearfried onto the field. Gearfried is going to be attacking the Orient Dragon, triggering his effect. At the start of the damage step, if this card attacks, you can equip one face-up monster on the field to this card as an equipped spell that gives this card 500 attack. And we're going to see him attack directly with the Red Eyes, who should have been summoned in defense. Unfortunately, we can't keep track of all these things. It's also up to the players to make sure that these cards are being played appropriately. But we're also going to see John activate the Poisonous Winds. Monsters can no longer be special summoned, and all face-up monsters on the field lose 500 attack. Oh no! Now that is one powerful lock. Can Daniel do something about this? It looks like we're going to pass things back to him, but he only has one monster to set here. Oh. Things are not looking good for him. We're going to pass it back to John here, and we're going to see him summon none other than the Dark Clown himself, Sagi, in all of his glory. And we're going to see precisely why he summoned him. Fu Rin Ha Zan. When there are face-up wind, water, fire, and earth monsters on the field, apply one of these effects. And for those that have been keeping up with the rules of the draft series, even though all monsters are considered each type and attribute, you are still required to have 4 face-up monsters anywhere on the field to activate this card. And it looks like he's going to be destroying all of Daniel's monsters. And we're going to see John go straight into the battle phase and claim this game as his. That is a wrap for the second game. Not only creating a strong and defensive board from John, but creating a lock that Daniel cannot get around. It's coming down to the wire, and the third and last game of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Draft Series, Synchro. We're going to see John start things off with the Supreme Sea Mare, while a normal summon is going to send one monster to the graveyard. And we're going to see the baby himself, Destrudo, come out one more time from the graveyard, sacrificing half of his life points to give him access to one of the most powerful Synchro monsters we've seen in this tournament, Yazi, evil of the Yang Zing. He's going to set 2 more in the back row and pass things over to Daniel here. We're going to see Daniel draw, and we're going to see him summon Jane, Light Sworn Paladin, 1800, onto the field. And we're going to see Daniel's baby boy activate in the hand, giving him access to Synchro from the hand into me, the Arc Light Sworn, onto the field, 2600. And we are going to see him activate Michael's effect. By paying 1000 life points, he can target a card on the field to try and banish it. And we see him trying to go after the Yazi, but that evil Yang Zing cannot be targeted. So unfortunately, he has to go after one of the back rows. And it looks like The magic key unlocking is banished again. That has got to be one of the bluffs that has paid off not once but twice during this tournament. Alright, looks like Daniel's going to be activating the Revolution Synchron from the graveyard. If you control a level 7 or higher Synchro monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. And if you do, special summon this card as a level 1. So we are going to see Daniel send, what? Lightsworn Aegis from the deck to the graveyard, which is also going to trigger it. If this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, you can set this card. Wow, this Lightsworn strategy is somewhat paying off for him here. Alright, and it looks like he's contemplating what to synchro into. Oh, but before that, he's going to activate the Ignite Veteran, and it looks like he might have something up his sleeve here. Oh, we're going to see a small mistake here on his part. It looks like he was going to try and summon Ignister Prominence, the Blasting Draco Slayer, which is probably why he set that scale. But unfortunately, Ignister does require a non-tuner pendulum monster to be summoned. So instead, we're going to see him summon Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. If this card is synchro summoned, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck. And if you do, you can add one excavated monster to the hand. Also, send the remaining cards to the graveyard. So we're gonna dig even deeper into the deck here. Raikou, the Lightsworn Hunter, the Fabled Cerberell, Garroth, Lightsworn Warrior, Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, and the Shiranui Spectral Sword, giving him quite a few options on what to add here. And it does look like he's gonna be going after Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, a very handy hand trap being added to the hand. And everything is going to be sent into the graveyard, giving him some graveyard synchro access during his next turn. We're going to pass things back to John here, and he's going to start things off by activating Yazi's effect, targeting itself and the Chaos Ruler, destroying both of them. And of course we know what comes after Yazi's destruction. Oh, but John has even more here. Shadow Impulse. When a synchro monster you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect and sent to the graveyard, target one of those synchro monsters. Special summon from your extra deck one synchro monster with the same level and type as that monster, but with a different name. What is going on here? Wind Pegasus add Ignister front and center, alongside the MVP, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, back onto the field. And now we're going to see John activate Wind Pegasus effect. During your main phase, you can destroy spells and traps your opponent controls up to the number of add Ignister monsters you control. Alright, so he is going to be getting one pop. And it does look like he's going after that Lightsworn trap Daniel just set. Next, we're going to see John try and activate Red Eyes' effect to summon something from the hand or graveyard, but it is going to be met with Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. When a monster on the field activates its effects, or when a spell or trap that is already face up on the field activates its effect, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Destroy that card on the field. So even though Red Eyes' effect is going to go through, it's going to be met with destruction here. And it looks like John is going to be summoning Supreme Sea Mare from the graveyard, and not only triggering his effect, but we're going to see none other than Destrudo finding his way back into the graveyard yet again. And by sacrificing half of his life points once again, we're going to see Destrudo come back onto the field, giving him access to a level 7 synchro. And now we're going to see John summon none other than White Aura Monoceros. Ooh. When this card is synchro summoned, you can target one monster in your graveyard, special summon, but it cannot attack this turn. And we're going after none other than the daddy himself, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, back onto the field. And I do have to note here that due to one of my mishaps, we were incorrectly using one of the newer versions of the Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. As most of you know, This draft is also based around pre-eroded cards, even though we try and follow certain wordings when it comes to game mechanics and such. Something like the Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon was originally not a once per turn effect. A misplay came about because we were using the newer eroded version of Red Eyes, so Daniel ended up reading the once per turn clause on Red Eyes' effect, which is why he ended up using the Ghost Ogre on it. So we unfortunately had to make a call here, preventing John from using Red Eyes' effect again. But moving forward, we all agreed that we would be considering the non-eroded version. So we're gonna see John move into the battle phase and attack directly. Set 2 more in the back row. Things like this do tend to happen every now and then, just because at times we don't have the most updated cards, or maybe we just don't have access to the cards that we want to use. In this case, I need to find an old version of the Red Eyes card. We're gonna pass things back to Daniel here, and we're gonna see him start things off with Minerva, Lightsworn Maiden, who's gonna let him add a monster from the deck to the hand, whose level is less than or equal to the total number of Lightsworn monsters with different names in the graveyard. And this time around, it's 3, which is going to give him access to Synchron Resonator added to the hand. Next up, we're going to see Daniel activate Chaos Ruler's Graveyard effect. You can banish 1 light and 1 dark monster from your hand or graveyard, except this card. Special summon this card from the graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. Not only is he a 3000 attack monster, but it also gives him a fair amount of stars to work with here. We're gonna see him banish the Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit and the Fabled Cerberell to bring back the Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. And sure enough, we're going to be using both of these monsters for none other than the High Spearoid Clear Wing Rider once again. And we saw just how devastating this card can be. Let's see if luck is on Daniel's side here. We're going to see him roll, and we're going to see him roll 4 big ones here. God dang. So we're going to see him shuffle up to 4 cards from the graveyard into the deck. Then he's going to be destroying cards on John's side of the field up to the number of monsters he shuffled. And if he does, he gains 500 attack for each of those. We're going to see him select the 4 monsters, and we're going to see him target the Ad Ignister Pegasus, the Red Eyes, and both of John's spells and traps, destroying his field. But John is not done just yet. No, he's not. Wind Pegasus, Ad Ignister, Graveyard effect. If another card you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, while this card is on the field or in the graveyard, you can banish this card, then target 1 card your opponent controls, shuffle it into the deck. Oh goodness, I'm not sure that Daniel had that in mind. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have gone after it. But it does look like the Wind Pegasus is going to spin back the High Spearoid Clear Wing Rider back into the extra deck. Now this is one great game between these 2 duelists. But this duel is not over yet. We're going to see Daniel activate the Shiranui Spectral Sword in the graveyard. By banishing this card and another monster from the graveyard, he's going to be able to special summon the Handy Dandy Orient Dragon. If this card is synchro summoned, target 1 synchro monster your opponent controls and banish that target. So we are going to be going after that away. Oh no. Oh no. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be one of the most heartbreaking parts about this synchro draft. Oh, this heat was overheating my batteries, my GoPro, everything and anything I could try. But in true synchro fashion, we move it forward and we get the last bit of this match, which I have to tell you, I don't even know what's going on in this game anymore, or how some of these cards came up. It even feels like a different game at this point. If I'm just being straight up, this could very well be an amalgamation of different matches that they had in the previous game throughout the tournament, since they did play twice. But if I recall, this is the last game. We're gonna see the Ghost Meets Girl, a Shiranui story being activated. Special summon the Shiranui Samurai onto the field. But it does look like Yazi was being used here, so we're gonna see Yazi's graveyard effect being activated here to summon out the Infernal Queen Salmon. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can special summon one normal monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which is going to be met with Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit to destroy it. But its effect still does go through, which brings out Clavikeys, the Magic Key Sky Blaster, 1900, front and center. And we see precisely why John went after Clavikeys here. Ringo Worm, the Dragon Guardian, the 100 Apples. If a face-up non-effect monster is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand, giving him direct access to a tuner here. But he ain't done just yet. By banishing the Clavikeys, he's summoning, once again, the Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, now in his full uneroded glory here. We're going to see him activate the Red Eyes' effect, summoning back the Infernal Queen Salmon onto the field. And now we're going to see him use the Ringo Worm and the Infernal Queen Salmon to Synchro summon the White Aura Monoceros, who on Synchro summon is going to target one monster in the graveyard to special summon it. And he's bringing back none other than the evil himself, Yazi, back onto the field. Next up, we're going to see John activate Ringo Worm's graveyard effect. During the main phase, if you Synchro summon this turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Special summon 100 Apples Token, who is a level 2, but can also be used as a tuner for a Synchro summon. And it looks like John is contemplating Synchro summoning once again here, but he looks like he's opting not to, but rather just go straight into the battle phase here. We're gonna see John direct the Red Eyes to attack the Orient Dragon, but it does look like John is opting to stop his attacks after this one, probably because of the Shiranui Samurai's effect, who, on quick effect, can banish a monster from the graveyard, gain 600 attack, and if it does, he banishes any monster that he battles, probably deciding to keep the monsters that he has on the field. And during his main phase 2, he activates the Poisonous Winds once again, keeping Daniel from special summoning any further. And all monsters in the field are going to be losing 500 attack. Oh boy, now this is one tough position to be in, because at this point it does look like Daniel is top decking. And let's see what he drew into here. Oh, what do you know? Power of the Guardians, equipping itself to the Shiranui Samurai, not only boosting his attack points, but also giving him some added protection here. We're going to see Daniel move into the battle phase and attack the 100 Apples Token here, giving Power of the Guardians one spell counter and boosting the Shiranui Samurai to 2300 and some added protection here. Okay, alright. So Daniel is not out of this game just yet. We're going to pass things back to John, and that Poisonous Wind does affect both these players. We're going to see John move into the battle phase here. It looks like John is going to attack with the White Aura Monoceros onto the Shiranui Samurai, causing Daniel to activate his effect. By banishing a monster from the graveyard, he's going to gain 600 attack points and banish it at the end of this battle, boosting him up to a total of 2900, a formidable monster here. It looks like John is going to move into the second main phase, activate Yazi's effect to target itself and the Power of the Guardians, destroying both of them. But this time around, Yazi is not going to be able to special summon anything from the deck due to the Poisonous Winds. John is going to set one more face down monster, and oddly enough, it looks like Daniel was able to survive one more turn. We're going to pass it back to him, and remember that Shiranui Samurai does have the option to boost himself again and banish any monster he battles. We're going to see him activate the Shiranui Samurai's effect again. By banishing the Shiranui Squire, he's going to boost himself back to 2400. So if he plans out his attacks accordingly, he may be able to get rid of just enough to give him a fighting chance, and attack into the Red Eyes, destroying itself but banishing the Red Eyes in the process. We're going to see Daniel set one more in face down defense position and pass it over to John here. We're going to see him draw, but now we're going to see John quickly flip summon the magnificent Magic Key Maftil 1600, attacking into the Plague Spreader Zombie. And I think John sees some of the writing on the wall here. We're going to see John set one monster in face down defense position. Those Poisonous Winds are putting some serious pressure on the entire field here. We're going to pass things back to Daniel, and it looks like he's going to draw and summon Unizombie, activating its effect to target a face-up monster on the field and send one monster from the deck to the graveyard to at least be able to shave down some of his deck here. And it looks like he's going to opt to send the Supreme King Dragon Dark Worm. We're going to see things go back to John, and he's going to be flip summoning the Chaos Mirage Dragon. Going straight into the battle phase, Mirage Dragon is going to battle the Unizombie, destroying it, and a direct attack from the magnificent Magic-y Mafteal. We're going to see John go into his main phase 2, set one more card in the back row, and pass it over to Daniel. Daniel draws and sets it in the back. No monsters to defend him. He's going to pass it back to John here, and it looks like we're going straight into the battle phase. Chaos Mirage Dragon attacks directly. Magnificent Magic-y Mafteal attacks directly. But it doesn't look like John can close out the game just yet, because keep in mind, those poisonous winds are subtracting 500 attack from all monsters on the field, but also somewhat giving Daniel a chance here. We're going to see John set one more monster in phase down defense position and pass it over to Daniel. He's going to set one more in the back row and pass it back to John, and he's quickly going to activate the Heavenly Dragon Circle. By tributing one monster, he's going to be able to add one monster from the deck to the hand, and if he tributed a non-effect monster, he can special summon it instead. By sending the Holding Arms, he's going to get access to the Flamevale Fire Dog. The way that this tournament started is the same way it's going to end. John attacks directly with the Chaos Mirage Dragon, the magnificent Magic-y Mafteal, and the Flamevale Fire Dog to close out and win this tournament. Yes, boys and girls, that is the end of this game, the end of this match, and the end of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Draft Series Synchro, with your winner taking back his crown, John Whitaker. Congratulations, not only for displaying his skill, but also showing what tuners and synchros were able to bring to the game. Not just introducing a completely different game mechanic, but showing the levels that this game has been able to achieve. And also a huge shout out to Daniel. Not only is he newer to the draft, but he's quickly been able to adapt and conquer a lot of different obstacles. We not only saw him acquire a very strong Light Sworn core, but also utilizing the Crystal Wing and the high Spearoid monsters to his advantage. Huge shout outs to him and to everybody who participated in this tournament. As I mentioned before, this tournament was not easy to record and even less to edit and put together, as you guys saw. Through the ups and downs and through all the troubleshooting that I had to do, nonetheless, in true Yusei Furo fashion, we revved it up and we got it done. So once again, thank you to everybody who's tuned in and to all of those who continue to follow this draft series. With great gratitude, we finish this era of Yu-Gi-Oh! We move on to the XYZ Exceed era. We'll see you soon. Michael, aka The Decor, Team Rose, Así es la vida, signing out. Peace.